Let's talk about the hearing meeting notebook template. So you can use this template anytime you're getting ready for any kind of hearing, and you can either use it as a checklist for yourself, or you can have your staff use it as a checklist to remember what you like to have in your hearing notebook. And you can add anything to this list, so make it your list, and I've just put on here what I like to have in my notebook as a starting point. But one thing that I have that I've learned, so many things I have learned the hard way, is all the cell phone numbers of all the witnesses, so that when we get to court, and as so many times happens, we find out we're pushed either to later in the day or another day, we can call the witnesses and tell them, don't come, stop, turn around, so we don't waste their time. So that has been very handy. Or maybe you're moved to another courtroom, so you're still going, but now you're trying to redirect this witness, and so it would be helpful to have their cell phone. Then we have a reminder of how many copies we need of things. So we need copies of all of our exhibits, we need copies of pleadings and of our proposed order, and so the checklist reminds us of all the copying that we need to do. One thing that it has is the exhibits, so let's talk about that. In the notebook, I like to have a table of contents, essentially, that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's just a straight numbering of everything in the notebook. I don't want the numbering to start over, so sometimes you'll see the numbering start over for category. So exhibits are 1 to 5, and then pleadings are 1 to 3. I don't like that. I want straight numbering the whole way, because I want the numbers in the notebook to match the numbers on my folders. So in my red rope, I'm going to have folders 1 to 15, and I'm going to have matching 1 to 15 on my table of contents. So whatever number 1 is on my table of contents is going to be number 1 in my folder. And then I don't have to mess around looking frantically in the heat of the hearing for an exhibit or for a pleading. I know I can just match my numbers. So this is simple tricks for lawyers who need help. Match the numbers. Then we have in here that for your proposed order, your original should be 2 hole punched at the top. And that has been true, but we have a lot of counties now going paperless, and then it doesn't matter, of course. You don't need to 2 hole punch anything if they're just going to scan it. But you do need to have several copies. I typically take 5 of the order, because you need to be able to pass them out to both parties, both lawyers, the court, so on and so forth. So it's helpful to have a lot of copies. And I like to include in my notebook exhibit stickers. I pre-mark my exhibits as far as sticking the sticker on them, and all my copies are made with the sticker already on there. But I don't number them, because I've had experience, some judges don't like them to come in a strange order. They don't want the first exhibit to be number 10. And some don't care, but it's hard to know until you're there and have dealt with that judge a lot. So I number them as I go, but at least I already have the sticker on, so that saves you one step. But you bring the extra stickers in case there's an exhibit you decide to use that you weren't anticipating, or you pull exhibit apart and make it multiple exhibits, which I've done before. So I like to have those exhibit stickers handy for that purpose. And I always like to have proof of service in my notebook. I hate it when I'm at a hearing and the other side says, well, we didn't get enough notice. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was an issue. So if you have proof of service handy in your notebook every time, you'll save a lot of time while everybody's trying to figure out when they were served or not and was it filed with the court. You have it right there. And it also reminds your staff to make sure they did get the return filed with the court. If they have to put it in your notebook, they're going to be looking at it and studying that issue. So that would be helpful to you as well. So let's review our list and see if we hit everything that we want to talk about. I like to bring an extra pleading. So whatever you're there for, whatever your motion or pleading is, it's nice to have one as a courtesy copy for the court. Obviously there's one that you filed with the court, but sometimes it doesn't get actually to the judge. Not very convenient, is that? So if you have a courtesy copy, that just saves time. They don't have to dig through the file. Now that we're transitioning in a lot of counties to electronic, they're not used to dealing with that system yet. Sometimes it's hard for the judges to find the pleading quickly. Maybe they want to write on the pleading. They can't do that if it's the file version. So I bring a courtesy copy. I had one case where the court had lost the entire file, never to be found again. So we had to recreate it for the court. So You don't necessarily need to bring a duplicate of your entire file, but anything important that you are going to be referring to in that file that you think you're going to take judicial notice of, you might want to have a courtesy copy. So those are the tips for building your hearing notebook.